Pleasure leads to pain. Man spends every minute of every day chasing pleasure. This will seem an outlandish concept to some, for they will wonder what is wrong with doing this. They will wonder what else there is. Why does the man seek pleasure? Because his life is unsatisfying. He must seek pleasure in order to get a hit, then another, and another. And in stringing together these hits, he seeks to create a pleasurable life. I would never tell a human being not to seek pleasure, because if I were to tell him that, he would ask me what he should do instead. Transformation does not arise through habits, rituals, and prescriptions. It arises through direct understanding. It arises from seeing with fully open eyes. Walking down the road of pleasure is an endless walk. It is chasing breadcrumbs. If one is going to chase something, it is wise to chase something that will give everlasting fulfillment. It is wise to chase something that will put an end to the chase. But to chase something that can only lead more chasing is futile. If I want to run towards something, I will run fast, long and hard. Even if it makes me feel out of breath. Even if it makes my legs ache with pain and fatigue. Even if it makes me drop to the ground and vomit from overexertion. Because I know that having reached it, I will be able to rest forever. I will know that having reached it, I will be done. I will have arrived. I will never have to chase again. This is worth the effort. But to run fast, long and hard, become overexerted and have my legs ache and drop to the ground in vomitus for something that is only going to need more chasing is ridiculous. This means that I will have to run fast, long and hard, become overexerted and have my legs ache and drop to the ground in vomitus for the whole of my life. For the whole of my life. Who would agree to such a preposterous thing? Man does. And the reason he agrees to it is that each time he chases, he believes that this will be the last chase. So it appears to be worth it. But each time he arrives, he realizes it was only a mirage. So he must chase again. And he is surrounded by a world that not only does the same thing, it gives him prescription how to improve his running. It gives him medicine for his pain. It gives him knee pads to comfort his knees when he falls to the ground. Not a single person in his life tells him that what he is chasing is the chase itself. Not a single person in his life tells him that everything is a mirage. Not a single person in his life tells him that there is something that he can have without chasing it, so that he will never have to chase again. It doesn't, as you know. Happiness also would be a wise strategy if it lasted. It doesn't, as you know. Peace can last. Freedom has ultimate permanence. But the world just pays lip service to such things because it can only sell you the things it knows about. It can only sell you moments of respite. It can only sell you a drop or two of happiness. It can only sell you a few minutes of escape in the form of meditation, hedonism, alcohol, a massage, or a vacation. Truth be told, even vacations are not fully peaceful. Think about your experiences with vacations. Are they completely peaceful? Or do they have their own miseries? The world cannot sell you what it does not have. It cannot sell you what it does not understand. Nothing creates pain like the search of pleasure, because after each high, there is an unavoidable low. And the drop onto the pavement hurts more than the momentary pleasure of floating above it. Man goes to parties, he laughs to hide his miseries, he drinks to numb itself from his pain. On the one hand, he chases in order to find something. On the other hand, he drugs himself in order to alleviate the pain of the chase. But rarely does he realize this. Because everyone around him is doing the very same thing. And the world in which he lives encourages him to keep at it with the false promise of a future payoff. I have never promised any client a future payoff. We must have it now. Having even a fraction of it today proves that it exists, but it cannot be arrived at by way of prescription. Go to a coffee shop, a nightclub, a business meeting, a restaurant. What is the conversation you hear? Reactive laughter, inciting reactive laughter, a recitation of the mundane events of one's day, outrage about the bad service, complaints about the cable company, the talks that are such drivel, such nonsensical gibberish. A man dresses up, leaves his house, and drives across town to talk about this. Go to a restaurant, and humans are chattering about nonsensical things, while music plays overhead, repeating the same nonsensical tune and the same word over and over. Personally, one need to wait for hell. The society is worse than any hell in the afterlife. The hell in the afterlife might at least be interesting. Something tells me that the devil is fairly ingenious. I have suspicion that one could have a truly deep conversation with the devil. Something tells me that the devil knows all about pleasure and pain. Perhaps he created pleasure in order to entice people into his world. One of the rarest things in this society is a deep conversation about truths of one's life. The absolute truth. One can lose himself in such dialogues. One leaves them feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. He sees a new path before him, a path to end all paths. Rarely does one come across such a human, unless he first becomes such a human. The pleasure that puts an end to the chase of pleasure. The pleasure that puts an end to the chase of pleasure. Discover that, and you will forever be free from pain.